come in for a good price and see, workshops and galleries. And so it's nice. It's to promote and support light workers.
That's
And
great.
they can be trusted. And we get in a lot of books and magazines with it too. So that's always nice. You get a lot of visibility.
Awesome. Okay, for everybody out there, my name is Tony Parker, and I'm here talking with the amazing, wonderful Patti Negri, who's amongst her many accomplishments is the president of the AMCP, which is an organization for professional psychics for maintaining professional standards. And she was just explaining all the work she does and they do to make sure that we have good standards in our community. Isn't that
Yeah,
right, Patty? Go ahead.
right. That's exactly what we do.
That's excellent. And again, she was talking about the website and anybody who's interested. She also is one of the head examiners.
Hmm.
And because the idea is to maintain good standards and keep the good people in and the not so good.
Yeah, people report bad people, the people who all of a sudden, you have a demon attached and they want $20,000, all that. That's
Exactly.
standard scam stuff. No, people report them. Um, and it's so you can trust that you're going to hire somebody who's professional, who's been trusted, who's not going to cheat you. That's it.
That is excellent. I also noted there here, I mean, I want to start at the beginning, but I just also wanted to let everybody know that you were cited the number one psychic of 2014-2015, and amongst the many accomplishments was tarot reading, psychic medium, and then spiritualism, and also you've been exploring the UFO world as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, through Maximilien de Lafayette, who's the founder of the Federation, and he's literally written hundreds of books on UFOs and alien stuff. So that's where that came in. I mean, I actually think I was probably seeing, extraterrestrials when I was a kid, some of my little pals, um, but learning more about it through Max.
Uh-huh. So why don't we start at the beginning, okay? Because it sounds really interesting and very exciting. You were very young and you were already having experiences and seeing things and also holding seances. Is that correct?
Yeah, I literally knew when I was a toddler, the so-called imaginary friends little kids have were absolutely not imaginary. They were real beings that I could get information with and talk to and translate it to people. And no one ever taught it out of me. I do think kids really can see a lot of stuff. I was always kind of into the other side and get people. And I literally did my first seance at seven or eight. Went in my little suburban hallway with no windows, no lights, and realized that I didn't know any dead people. I'm like, well, Marilyn Monroe and John Kennedy, they're dead. It was the late 60s. So I thought I'd conjure them. I think I came up with my first chant at the time. And not saying that they came, but my windowless, lightless hallway filled with orbs and lights and running through. And me and my little girlfriend, my best girlfriend, Sherry Jones, went running out of the house. And inside I was like, yes, yes, this is real. So literally I have studied the paranormal, occult sciences, metaphysics, philosophy, religion, cosmologies my entire life.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, when you were talking about but seances today, were the seances amongst your friends, or were grown-ups present, or was it more like an informal thing, just an experience? I'm just curious.
It's an experience. I wasn't setting up shop anywhere or anything like, come talk to the little kid with the talks to dead people. But my mom was never surprised by it. She said, oh, yeah, grandma always knew stuff. Grandma always knew when someone's going to die. Your typical angel comes to the end of the bed and do this and that.
So,
So it was just normal.
mhm. So this was an inherited gift. Was your grandmother or your mother a psychic, or did they have?
I think it comes from both sides of my family. My mom was very intuitive, but she didn't use it as such or as psychic, but she just kind of knew everything. Just truly. Not I know everybody says that about their mom, but she really did. But
Hmm.
her mother was, and her grandmother really was,
Hmm.
who really did use it as a gift. And I also think I get it from my dad's side, even though my dad's side was the very humanist, atheist, philosophical. There's a statue of Grandpa in the corner who was like the leader of the atheist church in the 40s, 50s, 60s.
Wow.
He's a big philosopher too, and he's Sephardic Turkish, and I think I got that whole kind of almost Sephardic Turkish gypsy blood from his side. And I think the two kind of mixed, and here I am.
Well, that sounds awesome. So at what point did you realize, I mean, shall we say as an adult, that you had a gift and that you started reaching out to others and expressing it or practicing it? Was it, how old were you, or what point did you start to say, hey, I am a psychic, I am a medium? Go ahead, please.
I think, again, always being a seeker first. And at first, because I was raised a little without any belief system and from this very almost evangelical atheist grandfather, I would go by a church or a temple or a mosque or anything that was spiritual, and I would see the energy inside, and I'd want to go in so bad. And I was almost afraid, like, is God a dirty word? I didn't know. I think I was 13 by the time I was brave enough. I think this was the Jesus People time of the 70s, and there was some cool rock concert, Christian rock concert with some really cute guys. I'm like, I asked my mom if I could go to church. I mean, I would have been less afraid asking my mom if I could go to a rave or an orgy than asking her if I go to church. And she's like, yeah, you can do whatever you want to do. I'm like, oh, so thus become the searching. I've always done other things, though. I literally I was a dancer when I was young. I was a model when I was young. I went into nursing. When I left modeling and acting, I went into nursing. That didn't work out so well because I'm, tap dancing on bedpans. I still run a production company, but this is my passion. This is my calling. And this just takes precedence no matter what I do.
Oh, that's amazing. And so when did you actually start, shall we say, giving readings or healings, or shall we say communicating or communications?
Maybe in the 80s. For the first part of the 80s, I kind of just shut it down. I'm like, no, I'd even wear hats to keep grounded. It's like, I just want to be an 80s girl.
Okay.
But again, I was always drawn to it. So I don't know, the deck of cards I'm using, well, this is a newer one. They haven't made, I think it was 30 something years old.
Okay.
So a long time.
Oh, let's see the cards. Let's see them. What they look beautiful. What are they?
Yeah, they're Ellen Cannon, somebody. It's called the Witch's Tarot. They have not made them, I don't think, in 20 years. They're gorgeous.
Okay.
You can find them new and hardly used, or not new, but, like from collectors, which I do now.
Right.
But it's a gorgeous deck.
That's a beautiful deck. So go ahead.
No, and I found them in different ways. Made by Llewellyn, not made by Llewellyn, pre-Llewellyn, post-Llewellyn.
Okay.
But
that's awesome. Well, again, the deck, it's always important to find a deck that you can communicate with, that you feel comfortable with. And so primarily it was tarot cards that was the beginning of giving readings, or would you see something coming from somebody? Would you see energy or an apparition or ectoplasm hovering
I've
around
always
a person?
seen things, and I've always kind of known more of the elemental, the magic side of things. I would literally, when I was a kid, be in my backyard picking plants and knowing what to do with rosemary. So I've always been making herbs and mixtures and tinctures and magical things and burning them and creating ritual. So tarot cards, I think, came in later just because for reading, they're just a really great tool. I don't even hardly read them by the book anymore, haven't in years. They're just jumping off point. So I kind of throw everything in a big pot. If somebody comes in for a session, they'll probably use some of my psychic skills, some of my mediumship skills. We might do some tarot. We might do some past life. We might do a spell working. We might do a ritual. We might, dance around a bonfire.
That sounds exciting. That sounds, I mean, again, you cover so many skills, which is, again, I noticed in some of the articles about you. I mean, you've been in so many magazine art. You were on New York Magazine. Gosh.
Oh, yeah. Newsweek, that was weird.
Newsweek as well?
This week, yeah. I'm considered an expert on spectrophilia, ghost sex.
Okay.
And I haven't had ghost sex, but I have enough clients who have, and I became an expert. I did a film, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, Ghostly Lovers by the Travel Channel. So, I mean, I think there's just that the pool is really small for you to rise to the top of people who are experts in this. But that's what I think's on This Morning, which is like the UK version of Good Morning America.
Okay.
They have a an English girl who gave up men for spirits, which I don't think is the right thing to do ever, ever. Talk about geographically undesirable relationships.
Right.
But it has had its purpose and its positive thing. So it's not all negative. But that's why I actually interviewed with Newsweek 2 days ago.
Awesome. Well, that's amazing. And now I'm also looking here on you're talking about hauntings. Have you tell us something about your experience with hauntings, or shall we say, since we're talking about spirits, have you done any clearings or communicated with spirits that have, shall we say, taken over houses or people or what have you, possession, whatever?
And I've been doing that a long, long time. House clearings is one of my mainstays. Seances, house clearings are the things I do away from here, my home, and in regular sessions. But I've cleared movie stars who wouldn't leave their mansions to, your regular weird hauntings. Yeah, I've had some crazy experiences. Literally, I've had somebody burst into flames. I was at Marilyn Manson's house. I was shooting a documentary. And I explain to people, be skeptic, believe, whatever, don't believe, but you have to be respectful because this is real. When I do a seance, we really lift the veil, so you will be able to see and experience. And this one kid was just, maybe because he was on TV, he was getting a little disrespectful. First, cool things were happening, like the French doors blew open, and the producer side of me is going, wow, that's like special effects, but it isn't. The speakers came on, white noise, but they weren't even plugged in. But then he said something horrible while we were getting great information. And literally the guy pointing at him, my cameraman, a dear friend, Laurent Malachi, burst into flames. My first spontaneous combustion. And I'm married to a drummer. He burst into flames like angel wings of fire up his back. All of a sudden, cool witch psychic Patti becomes medic Patti, of which I am. Remember, I went into nursing. And so I'm like, drop and roll. And I'm like, we are done. I'm calling in my wards, my guardians. We are done. But he was kind of inspired by it as his shirt burned off him, and there's some blistering. So I talked to the spirit, the kid who got really, really well behaved, who was misbehaving. We finished the seance, and we got.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and what the cool thing is, I work a lot dragon energy, dragon magic, and where the blistering happened on the guy who caught on fire, he showed me 3 weeks later. It literally looks like he got a tattoo on the small of his back of a dragon. The open mouth, the teeth, the winged thing into the shape of a serpent. That's my protectors, my guardians. I'm like, wow. And he was so inspired, he actually wrote a movie script with Stephen Norrington, the guy from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and the Blade series, about a psychic, a TV psychic who opens a veil by mistake, and then it turns into a horror film. But it was really inspired by the stuff that really happened.
That's amazing. Now, I'm very interested. Now, how do you go into a trance or a state, or do you chant or meditate? How do you sort of initiate contact? I'm just curious. I mean, I don't want you to reveal your tricks, but perhaps, just something.
I have no tricks, and you could probably see them all on TV if I did.
Right.
I work elementally because that's how I work, very shamanistic. So I will raise the veil using air and fire and water and earth, like Native Americans, like pagans as I am, like anything shamanistic, like Peruvians. I work elementally as my wards and guardians to raise the veil so people can experience. I channel, the show that I do mostly is Ghost Adventures on the Travel Channel. I just was shooting this weekend. I've done about
awesome
8 or 9 episodes, I guess. And so he brings me in kind of for validation. Sometimes it's to do a seance or to channel serial killers or whatever, or just kind of feel out, so just to kind of give them validation. So because of that, which is really fun, working with Zach Bagans and his crew, it's just a blessing. And it's for a show that I always thought was kind of silly for years until I worked it and I saw their intention and their commitment to it. Mm-hmm. But because of that, working with them, I get to go into the most haunted places all around the world.
Oh my gosh! Well, that's amazing.
Let's go to the Black Dahlia murder house. Okay, let's go.
Well, that's exciting. I mean, again, the clearings and the hauntings. I mean, I once lived in a haunted house that had been built. This was in the UK, and it had been built originally on a Roman temple.
Wow.
And they didn't know that. The so-called owner didn't know that, but somebody knew. Eventually, there were catacombs and everything underneath the building, and that's why things were happening. But unfortunately, we actually called up. I mean, this is going back about. We called up the local church priest. This was in the UK, so this was the Church of England, and the priest came in, and then he ran out the door. Says, "I've got to talk to the bishop," and then he never came back. And
Wow.
that was the. But we didn't get a clearing or an exorcism, and basically we left. But
Your gift then? Were you experiencing? Were you able to see what?
well, I felt depressed and kind of weird emotional things. My wife at the time, she actually saw ectoplasm, and so it was serious. But we left. We didn't since we didn't get the help we wanted or needed. But that's the other thing I was going to say, that finding qualified people who know how to handle it is definitely. So it's good to know, everybody, if you have a haunted house, call Patty, right?
I mean, I sort of look like Mary Poppins when I show up. I have these two monster wicker baskets with so many herbs and so many oils and so many chimes and gongs and candle and sound makers. It's kind of silly. But, you don't know what you need. You might need blue balls, you might need this, you might need that, you might need casserole. So,
And what's
yeah.
interesting, it doesn't necessarily have to be an old house, does it?
No, not even close to that. Because sometimes they get attached to the house and old houses that have a lot of history. Big in life, big in death is my experience. If it's, Banker Bob is going to be a small ghost at the bank. If someone's a saloon or a movie theater, they're going to be big ghosts. But no, when I actually fly to Vegas to work with the Ghost Adventures crew, that's where they're based out of. They put me in the Palm, a really nice hotel, a suites hotel. And the second I arrive, stuff goes awry. That's a brand new hotel. All of a sudden my cell phone blows up, my tablet blows up, the TV's turning on and off, the shower's turning on and off. There's no history there. It's a modern hotel.
Mm. That's really fascinating. And again,
Yeah.
I'm staying tuned. I want to hear some more of your stories at a later date, or I'm going to follow you to see some of your other adventures. So there are actually some shows where you're kind of doing clearings and clearing houses and things, or what?
Yeah, I mean, see, what shows have I done clearing? I clear them for Ghost Adventures, but never on air. That's just not the makeup of their show. I will go in afterwards,
Oh,
which I'm
okay. Because
going to
some
do.
of the ghost hunters, they actually document their stuff, and they have videos and electrical equipment and stuff like that. But
Yeah, and they document the haunting stuff, but they don't document the clearing. Like Amy Allen, I actually do some research for that production company on that Dead Files. I'll tell them what things are. She'll tell them what to do, her perspective, what to do. But I've done clearings on Pit Boss, Shorty, that was that Pitbull show a few years back on Animal Planet. Jeff Lewis flipping out. I've cleared his personal house on air.
hmm
Well, Home Disaster, Nicole Richie. I've done a lot of this see me work, do clearings.
that's
Bad
amazing.
Girls Club, all sorts of different, mostly, reality docudrama stuff. But it's fun.
Amazing.
I mean, some of the shows are really, they're all fun. Some of them are really silly, but you still bring a real message to, even if you're doing Bad Girls Club or one of my awesomeness shows that I work a lot, kids, you're still getting our message of like empowerment, and you guys can handle this, and don't, let it take over
I
in
hear
whatever
you.
method it is. So I like that.
Mm. Now I want to move sideways into an area that you touched on, and I think it's kind of exciting that you've kind of bridged the gap between, shall we say, the paranormal and then ufology. And I'd like to hear your take on what the connection is and what have been your experiences, because I think that's fascinating. Go ahead, please.
The trippiest thing to me, in studying with Max, again, who has hundreds of books, Maximilian de Lafayette, um, and me being able to raise the veil to see through it, or many of us can see through it, but the techniques that I work, the thing that's most amazing to me is ghosts or spirits or elementals, our otherworldly things, will not come to the same seance as ETs. Isn't
Mm.
that weird? maybe it's whole different realms or different, you know, areas. I remember, because again, I've been doing it since I was a little kid, regular seances, and I'll get, okay, this was a human, this was a shade, maybe it's not crossed over. This is an elemental. We have an area, angel, we have a this, we have animals. But working with Max, he speaks a lot on it. He's an Anunnaki expert for one, so he gave me this exact languaging, how to speak, and these exact sigils and symbols. And anybody can see I work with a lot of symbology and sigils and symbolism. So he gave me this stuff to do. All of a sudden, I'm actually with kind of a movie star, and we're down in my dark deck, and I'm doing my very first ET seance. Completely different experience. It's like we were in different countries, in different worlds. You know, I'm doing this stuff. I'm doing however I'm doing it, but using his words and his symbolism. All of a sudden, there's this big thing in front of us, not like any ghost or spirit I've ever experienced, and it was a whole new thing. This was an extraterrestrial coming in. I don't even know what planet or what. I'm not that big of an expert on it. And then 2 or 3 times since then, listen, we've never had on tape. We've had like 6 or 8 mediums all around the table, and we did the same thing. We are now calling in extraterrestrial. And again, working with languaging, working with kind of a lot of old Sumerian. It turned into literally like one person moving like this, one person chanting a thing, words would come out, almost like we had created an energy generator.
Okay.
6 or 8 of us around the table, and then messages started coming through. But it would be different as night and day. I mean, the veil is lifted, we're sitting around a table, but that's the only thing. But a ghost will never, ever come to one of those. And whatever this extraterrestrial, otherworldly world is, will never come to a regular seance.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Well, they call that close encounters of the 5th kind when you call them. I think there's that fellow, Stephen Greer, and he's out by you in California, and they do some kind of meditation, chant, mantra, and the flying saucers show up. I mean, the orbs and they show up, and they connect at that whatever. And now we're going. I want to segue into OBEs, because I think that's another one of your areas of expertise: out of body experiences, astral traveling. Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? That's fascinating. How did you get into that?
When I was a kid, again, it's just part of the way of being. I remember my mom would go. She was real social in the neighborhood. She was like, "We're going to go meet the Smiths next door," or something. I'm like, I went there last night. She's like, "You have never been there. You're 5 years old or whatever. You've never been there. They just moved in." I'm like, "No, I went there last night. Their living room is blue. There's green striped, wallpaper in the kitchen. They have a little den that's paneled in the back." It's just something I always did. And like I said, when I wanted to shut it down in the 80s, when I was a teen and into the early 80s, I just I would wear a cap to keep grounded before I really knew how to do it myself, open and close. So, yeah, it's great. It's good to know how to fly. Everybody should do it, and I think everybody can. Yeah. If you have trouble doing it in this world, do it while you're asleep. I mean, I do this thing I call dream school or dream magic. Literally putting a glass of water by the side of your bed at night. Mm-hmm. Water is a conduit. We are 70% water. Our planet is 70% water. I do a lot of magic and clearing people with that. Okay. But it's a super conduit. At bedtime, we want to be able to travel, go somewhere, charge the water, and do it.
Awesome. Because there are people who offer courses on, and so you actually you have courses for teaching people how to do astral traveling and OBs. Yeah. Is that good? Excellent.
I guess. I mean, I teach a lot. I'll do a one-off. I don't have here's a course and you're going to take this many classes and you're going to get a certificate. No, it's like, hey, I'm going to do a class on Tuesday. Let's do this. Yeah.
And now, do you do any kind of teaching or coaching or mentoring of other psychics? Because I know you said you're the examiner for the your organization, but do you do coaching or mentoring?
Yeah, actually, even the conferences we do once a year right now, hopefully there'll be more. They're regular people can come too, but they are actually geared towards light workers, psychics, astrologers. So the workshops that we teach over the 3 days or whatever are actually geared for people who are already gifted. The regular people love them too. You're going to get a whole different level coming in, and we do get professional people coming in.
Well, that's great. That's very helpful. Because, again, I think a lot of psychics, there's a whole lot of potential new kids, right, coming up who, maybe need a little guidance and support and help and development, for want of a better word,
Yeah, and I think that's good. I mean, and there's some amazing gifted people. These next generations coming up are on a different vibrational plane than us, and they are super, super gifted. But they do need a little bit, because I think you need to learn something. There's not a one right path in my perception. You could learn this path or that path or the other path. For as many thought patterns, there's correct paths. But I think you need to learn at least one, or one that draws to you. Because that's your template. That's your roadmap, how to get in or out. I'm going to be real new agey. I'm going to be a pagan. I'm going to be a witch. I'm going to be a crystal worker. I'm going to do you. But you need something to navigate.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to, you've been a real sport and a trooper for showing up tonight. And I just want to open up to the people here, whether they have any questions that they'd like to ask Patti. Or also, Patti, would you be willing to give a little short reading if anybody would like one?
Sure.
Awesome. So does anybody, now we go. We got Gary, who's raised his hand. Gary, what would you like to ask Patti? Go ahead.
Maybe you can help. I've done a lot of work on my health, Patti, and but there's still health issues that, with all the work that I've done, don't go away. And I'm just wondering if there's something that you know about with all the work that you've done that might not actually be mine. It might belong to something else.
Okay. Again, real fast. Getting into health issues. Okay. What I think more than anything is that you really do need more balance, Gary. And I think you get a little off kiltered and you hold a lot through here. Whatever how affects you health wise, I don't know. We could look into that. But I think I have this technique of working elementally that I think would really help you. Put your whole life into the 4 basic elements: air, fire, water, and earth. Your earth is your sense of grounding, who you are, your sense of self, what makes your house, your home, your apartment. Your fire, that's your passion, creativity, love, sex, God. Where we get off balance usually, and where I think you're getting off balance because you hold things in, the West is our water, it's our emotions. Remember, we're 70% water. They just have to flow. They can't be judged, stuffed down, put in the corner, ignored, anything. That's our water. And then the air, that's our thinking brain. That's our left brain. And you get a little chatty. You get a little spinning thought process. So basically, your whole life is air, fire, water, earth. It's your grounding, your sense of self, your persona, your fire, your emotions, and your thoughts. Grounding, passion, emotions, and thoughts. So next time, maybe you're not feeling as good as you could, whether there's serious health issues or just not feeling good. Think about, instead of staying in that numb state we always stay, instead go, okay, right now, what is out of balance? Is it my emotions? Am I angry about something? Am I sad about something? Am I worried about something? Did something cut me off on the freeway? Big or little, justified or not, doesn't even matter. But in this second in time, if it's your emotions that's getting the best of you, that's your water element. Sorry about this. That's your water. So what you need is water, running water. Think how good you feel after a shower. No matter what, you feel really good. Can't jump in a shower 1,000 times a day, though I do know some TV writers who do, but you can't. But if we know the secret to the world, which is mind, body, spirit, we know that because, 200,000 books are written, mind, body, spirit, the whole self-help section, the spiritual self, the psychology section. We do everything we do in our head first, period. We don't do anything we don't do in our head. Then our body has to take action, mind, body. Spirit is the hard part. That's the hard to grasp. And sadly, or good, gladly, that's the battery power that makes it happen. That's the aspirin for the headache. So if you see it's your emotion, you're sad, you're angry, you're worried about your health even in itself, that's the water. To get mind, body, spirit, because that's always a home run. 1 out of 3, you're not going to get it. 2 out of 3, hit or miss. 3 out of 3, home run every time. Walk up to, you could always find a sink, bathroom, kitchen, drinking fountain, hose, pouring a bottle of water on your hand. Walk up to the water, set your intention. Okay, with this water, I'm going to do this. Run your hands underwater for 30 seconds. If you want to, you could release, I'm releasing this angst, whatever, or not. You got the head, your body's taking action. The water itself is the spirit, and you will literally run that overage of emotion out so it's not stuck somewhere, especially in the middle of you right here. It's gone. Now you can deal with whatever causes if you want to, or just let it go. When it's your head, because you get a lot through your crown of illumination right here, you get real chatty head, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's your air element. You do not breathe deep enough.
Yes, that's true.
Stu.
I have a breathing restriction.
Yeah. But what air controls, again, right or wrong, is our thought pattern. That's our air element. It's communication, it's thought, it's clarity. So just remembering to breathe will actually make you feel better and slow down this chatter. My 30-second magic fix for that is working with Heckas. Have you ever done Hecka work? That's
No.
sound. So sound, gongs, chimes, everything helps. Heckas are vocal sound. Every sound we make, vowels, consonants, form, or flexion, they cause something. That's why people chant. That's why people do sacred singing. Without giving you a whole lesson there in Hecka work, vowels clear the head, period. Open up this whole crown. That's why every sacred word is a vow. Think about it. Amen. Om. Any shamanic or spiritual chant, whether it's hallelujah, or India, it's a vow to open this up. So again, if you see that you're getting chatty head and then you're worrying about your health and because we're creating it all, I 100% believe. Okay, mind, body, spirit. Okay, brain, head, air element, whatever you want to say with this 30 seconds of deep breathing, 30 seconds of vowel sounds. I need to pull in the air element. Whether you're sitting there going ah or oh or E-I-E-I-O. Within 30 seconds, that chatter in your head will stop, any fog will lift, and the clarity come in. Those two alone, because that's where we get off balance. Water and air, emotions and thought. Emotions and thought, water and air will clear you up.
Okay.
Getting into earth, if you're not feeling grounded, hug a tree, get barefoot on the grass. That earthing proves it. If you can't do that, if you're on the 35th floor of a building somewhere, grab anything, wood, a rock, a crystal, anything that's mineral or wood, houseplant, granite carpet. That is your aspirin for the headache. Grab onto it. Here, this is a wood chime. I need the earth element right here. Everybody feels this different. I feel it literally like this earth blanket comes over me and I'm safe and I'm healed. Some people feel it like roots coming below their feet, like, wow, I feel like the strength of a tree. It will start strengthening up your whole immune system, your whole earth. And the last one for fire, because being sick and having these health problems takes away your energy. So the fire element, to pull that in, maybe you have a hot date or a creative project, or you're just tired and you need to pull it together so you can feel good. And if you can't dance around a bonfire, as is my first choice, the hecka for that is Z. Zzz, like asking an 8-year-old, what does a bee sound like? Zzz. So again, mind, body, spirit, that's the home run. Okay, universe, fire god, Pele, dragon energy, whatever you want to work with this 30 seconds of deep breathing, 30 seconds of Z sounds. I need to pull in the fire element.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, and how do you spell this hecka you talk about?
I don't know. H-E-K-K-A maybe?
Okay.
I don't know.
It's so funny that you say all these things, because these are all
you will feel with doing this a tingling at the base of your spine. It'll start to rise up your spinal cord, and you'll have the fire, passion, creativity, energy to move on.
Awesome.
And if you balancing yourself
this is
out,
great. This you confirm a lot of things that have been coming to me the last couple of days.
huh?
You confirm these are all things. Pele, fire came to me tonight. All the things you're saying came to me the last couple of days, so it's great validation.
So that's so listen, your guys are talking to you. You know everything. You just have to trust it.
Right.
So, and again, we've gotten so far out. What I do, people, that's why I bring in the elements, the mind, body, spirit. If you have to grab onto the tree branch, you have to, breathe into it. You're going to feel it, and you're going to get your strength, and you're going to heal yourself. I should be dead. I mean, we didn't get into this today, but my mom took a drug when she was pregnant with me. They gave to pregnant women. And they told me by 50, if I was alive, which I probably wouldn't be, besides the brain tumor I had and the fractures in my back, having the bones of an 80-year-old, by 50, I'd be dead or in a wheelchair. Instead, at 50, I was doing that insane show, Wipeout, the world's largest obstacle course, the big red balls, to prove we are powerful beings. You are a powerful being. Don't give away your power, not even to illness.
That is awesome, Patti. That is fantastic.
Great. That's great.
Thank you. Great.
Thanks so
And Patti, if you've got time, is anybody, for one more maybe, Katie or Paula, do you have a question or a request for Patti? Go ahead. Katie or Paula? Can you guys hear us? Can you?
I can hear you.
All right, we got Katie. Okay, Katie, do you have a question for Patti? And where
Yes,
are you calling from, Katie, just so Patti knows?
I am calling from Beverly, Massachusetts.
Awesome. Go ahead. Your question or
How do
request. Go ahead.
Yes. How do you recommend staying calm when people are chaotic around me?
Okay. A couple reasons. You just heard everything I just talked about, those elemental 30-second things?
Yes.
Those in themselves can be your superhero powers. They're free. They take 30 seconds. You can do them everywhere. Put them in your invisible pocket in your superhero. That in itself will start keeping you calm. You'll start expanding, expanding, expanding. Other ways to do it. If people are getting too crazy and throwing energy at you, use mirror magic. You know, everybody, we run light through ourselves, run light through your body. But instead of just create a cocoon around yourself, use a mirror image. Because a mirror is reflective. Inside, you could be whatever you want, warm and cozy, but outside, put a mirror. So if anybody's throwing chaos at you or even bad thought, it just bounces right off and it won't hit you, and it crazy works. And if they are like purposely throwing chaos, they're going to kind of get a little reflection of it and going, wow, that wasn't very attractive, was it? And they're going to see through it and go, wow, that didn't hurt her at all. And they're actually going to get a little sting back because of the mirror magic. So the next time they won't throw so much chaos or throw so much negativity or whatever it is. So again, I always run light through, just whether you do an explosion from your heart or run it up or run it down, just light through your body. And then, like you're in a little cocoon or a little egg, mirror the whole outside. It's super powerful. And you could practice it. Practice it somewhere where nobody's putting you any energy. Like maybe if you're in a crowded elevator, you know, or at a concert or something that's like just your space is being invaded. Do this thing, run light through your body, mirror it out. You will literally see, if people can, they will step away from you and smile at you because they're not sending bad energy. If they can't step away, all of a sudden, still your space will no longer be invaded. You have to set your intent. Again, we can't control what anybody else does. We can try all we want, but we can't. But we can 100% control how we react to it and what we let affect us.
Awesome. Excellent.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Patti. Patti, we got a couple of Johnny-come-latelys, but have you got time or energy to talk to them? Or okay,
sure.
Excellent. Paula, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Where are you calling from, Paula?
I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead. Ask away.
How can you be sure that when you're connecting with spirit with a candle, are there certain signs that the flame does? I mean, if it's stretching straight up or going from one side to another or kind of swirling like a hurricane, do different flame dancing, I'll call it, mean different things?
Not that I know of, because I've instructed as to what to do. That's
okay.
A way to start moving energy. Okay, I want to see the candle dance. I want to see the flame get bigger. I want to see the candle move left or right. You could do it with incense smoke.
Okay.
Opposite of scrying. But I think what you have to tell in your discernment has to be if it's good or not good. You know that, and you have to trust that. You know, right. I'm talking left brain, right brain, left reasoning, rational thinking, 1 + 1 = 2. That right, that you're intuitive, you're creative, you're psychic, your spiritual side.
Right.
You can't use one against the other. You can't rationalize what's on this magic side. You dance between. But personally, somebody else may know differently than I. But I think a flame can do anything, and you're going to know in your heart, in your soul, in your spirit, if you're connecting into spirit, if you're connecting into something good, something you want to continue, then you ask and do it, and then you can direct it, say, and it comes pretty fast. It doesn't take that much practice. Make the flame dance. Make the flame white or blue or light.
Okay, so what you're saying is, like, if I want for yes, I could say move the flame right, and then maybe that could be our symbol for yes.
Maybe I have done scrying. That's divination. I've never done divination with flame because fire is its own element, its own energy. I would use something more neutral for divination, like people use pendulums. I use dowsing rods. Dowsing rods. These are cheap and easy. You could buy them anywhere.
Okay.
You know, cross on yes, don't cross on no. We are talking to each other electronically over Facebook, Zoom, all sorts of crazy things. Cross on yes. Yes, we are. You are sitting in my living room right now. It won't cross no matter what I do. This is something, you just need something that's a conduit. Flame can be a conduit, and there may be great divination people who could do it with candles, but.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Patti.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you, Patti, for showing up and giving, sharing some of your moments with us and spending some, your time with us. By the way, if anybody wants to contact you for a session or seance, just through your website is the best way. Is that correct?
pattinegri.com, PATTINEGRI.com, and from that you can get to my YouTube channel, my Facebook. I have regular Facebook, which I can't, or my Facebook, Patti Negri Psychic Medium, or my Instagram, and all that crazy social media that I don't understand, but I do. Sign up for my newsletter if you go to my website. Okay. I don't send very often, but I have really good tips and tricks like that. I don't sell anything. I just do it.
Awesome. Well, that's great, and I want to thank you again. This is one of the best broadcasts yet. I want to thank you, and I look forward to hearing more from you. And hopefully, maybe sometime you'll visit us again, Morgan. Morgan. Sorry, you're a little late. We're winding up, unless you have an emergency you want to ask Patti. No, he's not there. All right, Patti. Well, listen, thank you so much. God bless. Namaste.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for a brilliant broadcast, dear.
Thank you.
Bye.